Hey, everybody out there. This is Story Dude, and we're going to be reading some stories for you today. I'm just really glad that you joined us. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We got to believe. I am a 22-year-old woman, and my boyfriend, a 26-year-old man, is super honest, and it hurts. My boyfriend is super honest with me. I cry a lot when I think about our discussions. He says that what he is saying out loud is just what every normal man in a relationship is experiencing secretly, and that it is good that he is not lying to me and pretending that he feels what he doesn't feel. So it hurts a lot, and I've always been overly sensitive, so I don't know. Maybe I should just get through it. He started to tell me it's not natural for him to take me in his arms, that he is attracted to other women sexually, and that if I were more than a 7, I would have had a career in modeling. He thinks I'm a 5.5, but it's my bad. I asked him when I was drunk, just for fun. So he know that I'm hurt, but it's my fault. I don't think he would have told me without me asking. He tells me that he suffers too from feeling less for me than he used to, that he dreams about experiencing another passion, that he is bored in the relationship, that even if I was the most beautiful woman in the world to him, he would stop looking at me eventually. Well, my goodness, OP, I don't even need to almost finish this, but yeah, this is your boyfriend is abusive and you need to get out of this relationship immediately because he's not being honest, he's being an a-hole. Um, he tells me all this and he tells me that he loves me, though. He tells me that he will never find another one like me and doesn't want to leave me ever or cheat on me. He tells me that fortunately he never will because women are not attracted to him, so he will never have the occasion. It hurts like hell, really, but maybe it's just love, actually. As he says, love is not like it is in the movies when you want to stay with someone for a long time. It's about commitment. And he is kind, always here for me, and we are so goofy and open together, so I really don't know what to do. And to be honest, I'm not sure that what he says is true because I don't feel less in love than I was when we met over 2 years ago. Oh man, this is so sad. It is different, of course. We live together now. I see him every day, but still, I do see beauty in him more than in any other man. I still want to kiss him and cuddle with him apart from sex. I don't know what to do. Did anybody went through something similar? Any men could confirm what he's saying. Yeah, as a man, I can confirm the fact that I mean, I don't want to speak for all men, but I can speak for myself and many other men I know that we do think these things. We have impure thoughts. And I really believe that everyone does. Um, but there's a big difference between thinking something and externalizing it in a way that is hurtful to other people. And yeah, maybe part of being in love is being somewhat, I don't want to say dishonest, but acknowledging the fact that some of the stuff that you think or feel is not good, is perhaps toxic and needs to, not come out or come out in an appropriate way that is not going to be hurtful to the other person. I mean, yeah, I think that the your boyfriend is right that a relationship is about commitment. It's about commitment to not hurt other people needlessly and to keep your own feelings and actions in check. And it's a balance. And anyway, I don't I don't want to get too deep into this because it's pretty obvious that the boyfriend is just a POS. So let's see what the comments are saying. It's not just love, actually. Your BF is a garbage person who is trying to normalize their inner garbage by snowing you slash asserting all men think this way. He's telling you he's bored. Believe him and be grateful for that knowledge. It is true that at some point in a long-term relationship, sexual fixation can wane through familiarity. See the work of Esther Perel on this. That being said, you're making a ton of excuses for him. He's not being honest. He's just being cruel to you under the guise of honesty. Yeah. What's interesting that this comment does seem to allude to the fact that not all men think these terrible things. And I'm totally open to that. Could be a terrible person. But I think that all my friends are too, because man, we think some bad stuff, but we also realize these are bad things and we don't act on them. And I'm always a little suspicious of people who claim that they don't have dark thoughts, but maybe they're out there. I would really just love to know what other people are thinking. But anyway, being super honest is code for being an a-hole. You need to run, girl. Get out of there. Find someone who thinks you are a 10 and actually loves you. What an ass. Yeah, never tell your partner what number you are. Or if you do, make it a good number. Or don't say any number. I have one of my best friends. She was in a terrible relationship with some weird French guy. And she said that one of the thing, by the way, she is an incredibly beautiful person, physically and on the inside too. But this French dude told her that she was an 8, and she hated that. And I think she hung on to that little statement, and that was one of the reasons why she broke up with him eventually. And an 8 is a great score. So I think that goes to show that the whole concept of a score is disgusting, and there's no way of like telling someone their score, even if it's a good one, and expecting it to go down well, because it probably won't. So just keep the scores to yourself. All his honesty is negatives about the relationship and you. That's not love. It's mutual avoidance of ending it. You want a relationship with a guy that told you he doesn't feel the same. That's not healthy. Sadly, both of you lack the strength to end it. So it will keep lasting until one of you stumbles on someone else that does and breaks it off. Yeah, I'm wondering if this relationship is salvageable. I mean, it sounds like they do have, nice moments. It just, it's possible that the boyfriend's just kind of like an edgelord and likes to say edgy things. There are people like that. Maybe just shut the hell up. Because it sounds like that's the main issue. He's not cheating. He's not doing anything wrong. He's just saying stupid stuff. So maybe you should just shut up. He's right. Love isn't like in the movies, but this is like one of those Lifetime movies that begins with an emotionally abused woman who thinks her asshole of a boyfriend is actually her Prince Charming. So this isn't love either. This man should not be your boyfriend. He should not be anyone's boyfriend. Whatever beauty you see in him is betrayed by his cruelty. It's not a math equation. The good doesn't subtract from the bad. Anyone who loves you would not treat you that way. This would never hurt you They would never hurt you under the pretense of being honest. Everyone will tell you to save yourself and get out of this relationship. This is one time where you should give in to peer pressure. Everyone is right. Well, I don't know about the end of that statement. What do we know? We're just people on the internet. We can offer suggestions, but it's like, I think telling the OP to give in to the peer pressure is a little, because there is a chance that we're all wrong and that the OP's boyfriend is an okay guy and that he just needs to stop saying stupid stuff. It's possible, but unlikely. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. Would I be the a-hole for not inviting my poly friend's partners to my wedding? I am a 25-year-old woman, and I am getting married in September. My husband, Mike, and I are doing a big wedding for 250 guests. I've always dreamed of having a storybook wedding. I asked my best friend Marisa, a 25-year-old woman, to be my maid of honor, and she happily agreed. She's been a huge help to me in every step of planning the wedding. Marissa is in a poly relationship, and she has 3 partners: Greg, 24 male, Brandon, 27 male, and Ace, 22-year-old non-binary. Oh man, something tells me like Ace, that's a weird name. Ace, it sounds like a lot of fun. She's been with Greg for 5 years and was the first partner she had. They added Brandon and Ace over the course of their relationship, with Ace being the newest member and probably the most fun, let's be honest. They all date each other and seem to be happy. I don't really get it, if I'm being honest, but it's not my business. However, the issue came into play when Mike, 32 male, pulled me aside and said that he loves Marissa and he doesn't feel like spending the wedding explaining her love life to his family. Which I understand, they are also very conservative and hardly accept LGBT people as it is, let alone a LGBT polyset. I had already reserved 4 spots of Marissa and co, but my husband suggested he invite a few coworkers to take the partner's spot and Marissa could come alone. I didn't want to ruin his big day, so I agreed reluctantly. I know I should not have told Marissa from the get-go, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So when the invite went out, she called me up immediately and asked why she didn't have a +3 invite. I explained to her exactly what I said above, and she just said, "Oh," and hung up. Next thing I know, Brandon is calling me and begging me to reconsider, saying they promise they won't act like they are in a relationship, but they want to be there for me. Except I can hear Greg in the background telling him to get the F off and that I'm an a-hole and he doesn't even want to go. I explained to Brandon that I already gave their spots to Mike's coworkers. Brandon says, okay, thank you, and hangs up. Marissa texts me the next day saying she isn't coming unless they can go. Mike said he can't uninvite his coworkers now, so it's not his problem. I told him I would add them and pay the cost, and he just said if I want to spend the whole time explaining their relationship to people, then so be it, but he isn't wasting his time doing it and will just send people my way. Our other friends think I'm an a-hole, but Mike's friend and a few of my non-mutual friends don't think I am. I just want some more unbiased opinions. What an interesting one. Um, I think that the OP is the a-hole from the way that she approached the situation, but there is a non-a-hole way of doing it, which is just sticking to tradition, not in terms of, traditional types of relationships, but traditional types of wedding invitations. And it's very simple. Each person invited to the wedding gets a +1 adult and as many plus, children, which don't even really count. And because they're just, they'll sit at the kids' table or whatever. What I'm saying is you give your maid of honor a +1. And if you are good friends with the other two guys, Brandon and I believe it was Ace, no, Greg and Ace, the second, the two guys who are less important or whatever. If they're your friends, then invite them to the wedding too, as just normal guests or something. I guess what I'm saying is that you took their relationship structure and made that the focal point of this whole debate, and there's no way of reconciling that with the traditional, or I'd say conservative opinions of your husband's family, but also just the fact that weddings generally you just have a +1. And so it's like making everything a lot more complicated. And I think there's a less complicated way of handling it. And the way you handled it was an a-hole move, making your friend's relationship like this huge deal when it didn't have to be. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let's see what people are saying in the comments. You would be the a-hole. Intentionally or not, you put the opinion of bigots over the reality of your friends. They likely feel betrayed, especially at the short notice. Could Mike's family be given a stern warning instead, such as there will be no comments on people at our wedding? If you cannot keep it to yourself, you will leave. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. Although, having some bigots in my family, you can't tell bigots not to be bigots. They will be bigots and they will make it about them. So it's really oftentimes the choice between doing things their way or having a scene. So I still kind of like my solution of just focusing on the traditional mechanics of a wedding invite, which is a +1, and just inviting everyone, the rest separately, just as friends, and just keep it cool that way. You are the a-hole already. The way you've handled this is awful, and your husband sounds like an a-hole too. You are putting the opinions of your bigoted in-laws, and I'm guessing your husband too, over your actual friends. If you go through with this, you will most likely prematurely damage your relationship with your maid of honor. Yeah, but I think I want to give the OP a benefit of the doubt here, at least or maybe this is how I'm thinking of it. It's not that the issue is really just kind of practical, is that it's unfair for your so your maid of honor to get to invite three partners. That's like, I think that's just unfair. It's like if I get invited to a wedding, I don't invite, my best friend and his friend and stuff. I think that there's a little bit of entitlement there that needs to be addressed. So I don't know. That's my opinion. That I could decide I'm in a poly relationship with 5 people. Does that mean that my 5 people have to come with me as my +1s to a wedding? I don't know. You're the a-hole, but for how you handled it. I can get not wanting to have to explain why someone is there with 3 partners. Personally, if this person is the maid of honor, I think that means they're important enough to you to also include their partners would you ask them to go solo if they're monogamous and gay to avoid having to explain that to a conservative family? But okay, I see what you mean. But that's just me. At the end of the day, it is your wedding, but you shouldn't have spoken to your friend about it before. But you should have spoken to your friend about it beforehand. Getting an invitation with only one name in it is not the way that she should have found it. I get that you didn't want to have to face her about it, but you owe it to her to do that. Yeah, I guess now that I'm thinking, what I suggested is going to be hurtful anyway, because if you are in a relationship with three people and you get that plus one, it is implicitly saying that your relationship is not respected. So it is weird. But on the other hand, I mean, I still think the point of getting to come with three extra guests is a little entitled. It's a real tough one. I think I think as if it's important what I think, but what I think is that the only people who should be coming from that polyamorous relationship are people that you would have invited independently. Like if they're your friends, they should come, but if they're not your friends, they shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know. Now I think I don't know anything. I'm the a-hole. How about that? It's more simple. Mike said he can't uninvite his coworkers now, so it's not his problem. Oh, but you can uninvite your closest friends' partners. You let your a-hole partner be an a-hole to your friends and to you, forces you to be an a-hole yourself to them, and it's not his problem. I think his family has a lot of money, and that is the whole story. You get to plan your dream wedding with 250 guests in your dream life, and in return, you do whatever his family wants, and the rest is not his problem. Since you were so fast to sell out your best friend, I have no sympathy for you. Everyone is shameful here. Your husband, his family, you, except your friends and her partners. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can explain to me about the polyamorous thing, whether if there is any level of entitlement with being able to say, like, we're not a couple, we're like a quattro, like there are four of us now, deal with it. It does make things more difficult in just a lot of ways, but I guess we just, I guess we owe it to our friends to accommodate them in any way, shape, or form they come. I guess that's the point of friendship. I don't know. This is a really interesting one. I'm having to really think through my my principles here. Okay. And this is interesting. A comment from a polyamorous person. Maybe this will answer some of the questions. Sufficient Cat says, I'm poly, and I think you are not the asshole for not inviting all her partners, but I think you handled this horribly. She's your best friend. You should have talked to her about your concerns. I told him I would add them and pay the costs, and he just said if I want to spend the whole time explaining their relationship to people, then so be it, but he isn't wasting his time doing it, and will just send people my way. So do that. I get that his parents are conservative, but he didn't say my family will disown me. He just doesn't want to deal with the questions. So you deal with it. Yeah, I think that this paragraph reminds me of, in fact, yes, your husband is an a-hole. That is clear. But I think it's interesting to hear from the polyamorous person. I mean, assuming we can believe her, because this could just be some redneck who's, anyway, but I think that this polyamorous person is somewhat agreeing with the fact that it can be too much to have to invite like all the partners. It's not necessarily called for. So that's been a really interesting one. We are looking forward to reading your comments because that one has got us all tied in knots over here at Story Dude Productions. And on that note, I want to wish you all a great day. Stay groovy, and we will catch you on the next episode. Really enjoying this. Really, we're just kind of figuring life out, one story at a time. And I don't know if we'll ever find the answers we're looking for, but I guess it's all about the path we take to get there. Goodbye, my friends.